Jam. Toon Jam.
Hello and welcome to Toon Jam. I am Matt.
And I'm J-Man.
And today we are heading once more into outer space. That's right. We are talking about the brand new Star Trek Prodigy. Oh boy. Well, we've done a couple of Star Trek animated episodes before.
Mm-hmm.
The original series being one of them.
Yeah.
Way back in the 60s or the 70s?
Yeah, 60s, I think.
60s, yeah, very, very early, and a more recent one with Lower Decks.
Mm-hmm.
This one is a Nickelodeon one. So let me tell you a bit about it before we dig in. Star Trek Prodigy is an American animated television series created by Kevin and Dan Hageman, seemingly relatives, for the streaming service Paramount Plus and the cable channel Nickelodeon. The series launches as part of the executive producer Alex Kurtzman's expanded Star Trek universe. Prodigy follows a group of teenagers who use an abandoned starship to search for adventure. The Hageman brothers were set as creators and showrunners of the show, and they previously worked on things like Lego Ninjago and Troll Hunters, mainly, I think, amongst others. Nickelodeon have ordered 2 series of it, and the series uses computer animation, differing from previous Star Trek animations. The series is orientated more towards younger audiences than the rest of the franchise. Ben Hibben, or Hyben, was announced as director in August 2020, and it was revealed in February 2021 that the series would debut on Paramount Plus before airing on Nickelodeon. It premiered on October 28th, 2021, so pretty fresh, on Paramount Plus with the first 10 episode season. It would then air on Nickelodeon before the second season is released on Paramount Plus. So yeah, that's a little bit of just background info about it there. There's characters that return from past series, mainly Captain Janeway, who we see at we watched the very first episode. We see her at the very end of it, so there's not much that we know about her yet, but she is voiced by Kate Mulgrew, who played her in the series as well, and I think there's other characters that pop up too. Let me tell you a bit about the reception. So it's our favourite guessing game. Guess the scores. So let's hit IMDb first. What do you think the rating on IMDb is for Star Trek Prodigy?
It's pretty new and seems pretty well liked. So I'm going to go like 8.1.
You're far off today, my friend.
Oh.
6.7.
What?
Mm.
Really?
Yes. Not necessarily low, but not necessarily high either.
No.
For a fresh show. So, but you know, with these things, often when they have a big fan base, it's kind of the reverse. They'll start low and make their way up as people watch them, because you know you've got the hardcore fans that don't like change.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So, and I would say as a clue, it's somewhat reflected in the Rotten Tomatoes score. So, let's start with the average audience score. What do you think it's going to be?
So going off that, it's, you know, maybe it's 60%, something around that.
Okay, it's higher than that. It's 74%. So not too bad, but again, not as high as you'd perhaps have thought initially.
Yeah, I mean, like usually the people get on it, they love it, they go and they can't wait to tell other people how much they enjoyed it, so they go and they pop all their scores on here. So yeah, it's quite lower than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I think it does say a lot of the Star Trek fan base. Anything that's been made since Discovery except for maybe Picard, doesn't tend to land very well with the old fan base.
Yeah.
I think that possibly is why. It's just a theory. I've got no proof of it, but before I get a load of tweets or whatever. But that's what I'm thinking. I know it's, you know, it has that sort of because it does feel like a newer Star Trek property.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What about the standard average tomatometer or tomatometer?
Well, it's a Rotten Tomatoes, so I mean, I'm gonna have to go 100%.
For once, you're wrong.
No, what?
You're actually wrong. Yeah, it's not.
This defies logic.
Yeah, I know, but you know, maybe one of the critics was one of that you know old fan base.
Oh yeah.
Because it was 88%.
Ah.
So yeah, there you go.
Shocking. Well, that's already like, you know, terrible reviews for Star Trek. Prodigy roll in as the tomatometer is not at 100.
But yeah, it's. I mean, you've got to remember as well the fact that Captain Janeway's in it.
Yeah.
Would perhaps attract more old fans back into it as well.
Yeah.
Not thinking that this is, you know, directed more towards a younger audience. But yeah, so that's the reception it's got. I wouldn't say it's a bad reception at all, but it's not the 100% that we've seen the last few times.
No, it certainly isn't.
So okay. With that said, has Twitter got anything to say?
Yes, definitely many opinions on Twitter, but I think generally positive. We've got Kelly's Encanter, who says, "Finally watched the first episode of Star Trek Prodigy last night. After all the good reviews, I was worried I was heading in with too high expectations, but my word, that was wonderful."
Oh, there you go. Very pleased.
Yeah, very happy with that.
Yeah,
and
nice little good review there.
Even going in with the highs, that's you know, they say that can, you know, be the fault of all of us if we just go in too high expectations. But even with that, they were like, yeah, loved it all the way.
Do you know what? How good is it when you are very aware that something's been overhyped, and then you go in and you're like, actually, this is as good as I'm happy still. Yeah,
it's disbelief, isn't it? You're just like, I can't believe it's as good as I've been told it is.
Yeah, I feel like there's two great feelings when watching something: being told something's bad and then it being good, and then being told something's good and then it's actually good. That's like the top. Like, oh my days, it actually is. I was ready to hate this for no reason other than someone told me it was good, but I can't fault it. Yeah. So fair play.
Yeah. We've got Real Jojo 143 who says, "When an animated kids show becomes the best entry of the franchise in 16 years, pure entertainment. # Star Trek Prodigy."
There you go. I mean, says it all.
That's quite a review for that as well.
Yeah. Pure entertainment.
Pure entertainment. We've also got Shambrook Ben who says, "What's the first episode of Star Trek Prodigy? It's very Star Wars, but without Jedi, which is an improvement. Hoping now that intros are done. Now that intros are done, it can get more Star Trekky, if that is, you know." The Sith droid dude rules though, so you know, quite a crossover between Wars and Trek, but fairly happy either way. I think on that one, that's where that one landed.
Yeah, that's an interesting view on it. I suppose I can see what they're saying, but at the same time, I don't completely agree with that.
Well, we'll go into that a little.
We'll go into that more,
very
but
soon,
you know, it's still, you know.
Yeah. Still positive. We've got PR agent for Bob C, who says, "So we're supposed to detest the lead character in Star Trek Prodigy, right? Right?" Which I can completely understand.
Yeah, it's one of them where you're watching it and you know that there's going to be people that have that problem.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, very early on, I was like, "Oh boy, wow, what's he What choices they have made.
Yeah, this. Oh, you've made the comic relief the main character.
He is so witty at
Yeah.
every occasion.
Yes.
What a choice. And then finally, we've got Lady Jessica WD, who says, Star Trek Prodigy is fun and delightful. Full stop.
There you go.
Straightforward. No messing around. That's how Lady Jessica WD does it.
That's it. Just straight in, thumbs up. See you
fun
later.
And delightful. What more do you want? Shut your noise. Get it.
That's what that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a review. There it is. See you later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, that's it for Twitter.
Okay, well, so generally good reviews.
Yeah.
And then I'd say it's not even a bad review, but one criticism of character.
Yes.
Okay, which is, you know, all fair comments, as per usual, I would say. Okay then. Well, let's dig in. I mean, I take it you've not watched this at all before.
No, not at all.
And you've not seen past the first episode?
No.
So we both just watched the first episode this week. So it's just completely off that. So yeah, let's go to the character then, seeing as we've started discussing that anyway. It was an interesting choice for a main character.
Yeah.
Because he was quite annoying.
Oh yeah, and especially for like a Star Trek series as well. Like,
yeah,
you know, for saying usually, I mean, I'm saying usually. I've seen like, you know, a handful of episodes, I guess, in comparison to like how many episodes there are. You know, I've seen a fraction, but usually it opens up with like a captain speaking or someone of authority speaking in a very like formal manner, maybe doing a report, maybe, you know, doing a log and explaining, you know, something. So for it to go from that formality to then to be like, you know, just witty mind guy, just like cracking jokes. And
so do you think this is where that sort of Star Wars feeling comes into it? Well, that was mentioned. So it's more like, you know, Star Wars, especially, you know, in its extra, I'm going to say extra media, but, you know, when it's outside of the Skywalker stories, even in them to a degree, you know, you have sort of everyday average Joe trying to make his way in the universe or the galaxy, which is kind of not. I mean, this has that sort of feel, doesn't it? They're not Starfleet.
No,
that's the difference with this and everything else. So I suppose that's where that comes in.
Personally, I definitely think it felt very Star Wars, especially at the start. Not just because we're out of a ship environment, and we've got like some, you know, I guess like mathy character or whatever going on, but also like the characters that you see as it goes on. There's lots of like droid looking things. There's a very General Grievous looking guy. Who becomes more General Grievous as things like go on. Lots of people in power making hand gestures a lot. And in fact, the whole opening of like that character escaping the mine was exactly the same as like the opening to Jedi Fallen Order, which is a character escaping a mine, which is like, this seems weirdly familiar. Like, I feel like I've played this. So yeah, that was kind of odd that those were there. And of course, like, you know, Star Wars, you are used to seeing lots of different races in the same environment, like, and not in uniform, I guess. And so it did feel, it didn't really feel very Star Trek until you see a ship for me. So that was 20 minutes in. That was like an episode's worth of time where it felt like Star Wars as opposed to Star Trek. And even then, I think like the level of, you know, again, the constant more of those designs coming through, and the sort of the type of action that was happening, it all felt like I was watching something it wasn't quite Star Trek yet, but from what I've read on Twitter, it gets more Star Trek-y as it goes on. So
yeah, I can believe that. I think I do see the similarities, but I do think it still has. I mean, just things like the minor things that we see in this episode, like this sort of giant rock character being a little
Mm.
girl.
Mm.
That's very sort of, Star Trek often like it's basically like breaking the stereotypes you in your head. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
to give you that sort of, it's trying to make you more aware of everything. And then these, it's a robot, but it's not a robot. It's like an entity, isn't it? With no gender.
Mm.
Things like that. And then we do see like, we see a couple of species that you can recognize, Kazon being probably the biggest one. Oh, and the argumentative guy, can't remember his name.
Yeah.
The names are, I mean, a few episodes in, I think I'd probably pick up the names, but a little bit lost on me at the moment. But yeah, there's a couple of races or species that kind of stood out as Star Trek. But it felt more Star Trek cinematic universe to me.
Right.
There's a film where they go to sort of a prison planet. And I don't think it's the same one, but it has a similar feel to it, where they're in the mines and stuff. It might be the same one. I'm pretty sure it's not, but
yeah,
I'm not entirely certain on that one. But yeah, it did have a sort of cinematic. And I don't know if the music was a big part of that Star Trek feeling I felt.
Right.
Because it did have the sort of tones. You got the theme in there, and the bit like. I'm guessing it will move to the start, but we did have a proper Star Trek intro.
Yeah.
Which was like at the very end of it.
Yeah.
There's this, we see the intro, and I thought the intro or outro or whatever it is in the future, I thought that was really good. I thought it's the best one we've had for a while, because that's the problem. We've discussed this before, Discovery.
Yeah.
We're both fans of it, but the intro doesn't really
do anything,
tick the box for us, does it?
No, not at all.
Whereas this had like all those space visuals,
yeah.
and a really good theme as well. It's Michael Giacchino, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who did the movies as well, the newer movies. So it has a very Star Trek theme, which is cool. That was like a big box tick. I felt that the series is needed for a while, but I do think that now that they're on the ship, that will make a big difference.
Yeah, I can sort of understand, because I thought they could have cut it off at that 20-minute point where it was like, I think it was like I think that was the other thing, is like they're hunting for like a rebel almost as well. It was like, this is all very borrowed, it seems. But yeah, so like the first time they encounter them, it's like that could have been an episode there. But I think like they needed to get it to the Star Trek point, really, didn't they?
Yes,
for people to go, okay, this is Star Trek. So if they'd have stopped it there, you could have sent that to someone, taken the titles out, and been like, "You seen this new Star Wars series?" Started, because there's very. It does feel. I can see why people would say it is similar, but I think a lot of things were, borrowed in a way. I kept noticing things that were like, "Oh, that's weird." That's how it goes. Maybe it's just Star Trek stuff that I don't know, and I know that the people behind these shows, they are trying to put in like little hints. Like not everything's going to be obvious, is it? Like So there probably is lots of little nods that I'm just not privy to, and like new audiences probably won't be, but they might just be old Star Trek stuff hidden underneath things. But yeah, I thought it was weird that one character looked like Bebop from like.
Oh yeah, that was one of the main things. Like when that happened, that I was like, yeah, definitely want to mention this later. It was completely like Bebop.
Yeah, like no questions. Like, why have we gone for this? And
I think I already had it on my mind, because obviously Nickelodeon currently do Ninja Turtles, don't they?
Yeah.
So the fact that it was Nickelodeon, I was like, what is this, a crossover?
Yeah.
That I didn't know about.
I don't know. Yeah, is that some sort of like? Is this like a new approach? Like they're just saving money on like silhouettes for posters or something, so they can just like use the same one for both shows. It's like, that's Bebop. Oh no, it's the other guy.
I mean, I hate to get back to it again, but further proof that the 30 years resurface of media and style, 30 years ago, Bebop was in our lives.
Yeah.
At the moment, this is where he's gone to.
Look at where he is now.
It comes back around, folks.
It really does. It really does. Another old timer from 30 some years ago. Arnold Schwarzenegger in Conan. I couldn't help but feel like there was a moment where he's pushing like he's pushing like some stuff around a big cylinder with some guys, like, and it's just like the exact opening scene of like Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah, this is purely Conan.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is strange. I wonder why they've gone for this bizarre reference. Like, yeah, lots of that is the thing. I couldn't help but feel like, oh, this feels borrowed. Like, I feel like I've seen this before, like all the way through. Which, like if they put it together to make a series that is very different, then fair enough. But at this point, it was kind of confusing almost, having all these other elements in. Like, like, is Star Trek Prodigy a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover? Is it like, did Conan actually power a station that's in the Star Trek universe? I don't know. Like,
but it's getting you to ask those important.
Yeah, these are the important questions. This is what we want to know.
What did you think about the visuals?
Yeah, I do like the look of it. It did remind me of the recently released Arcane series, like the League of Legends one. Like, there's sort of like a similarity between the way that the characters sort of like the textures of the colors and stuff on them is kind of like that. So yeah, again, my mind
reminded me a bit of a toned down version of the new He-Man as well.
Yeah.
It's that like, it's very much that modern style, and we sort of said when we were watching that as well, like, it's got sort of a fresh look to it that kids now, I think, will connect with.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But it also, I felt it looked like that, but it was like artistic in a way. Like, the colours and stuff were really nice, and you can tell once they get into space, like as they have done at the end of the episode, like they could have some really nice looking visuals. Yeah.
I mean, every scene looked good in this. Do you know what I mean? Like, whether they were in the mines, like the crystals had a glow to them. Like, there's like a character in the tank, and like everything was like all the little bubbles and stuff. There was like a lot of attention to detail. It was just like every scene looked really sort of nice and very, like, iconic in a way, didn't it? Like, it, like, all the way through, like even the bits that, even with the mouthy guy just driving through these like these clamp systems, like all the machinery and stuff, all that stuff looked really cool as well. So yeah, visually it's definitely a treat. Like, you can see why it would appeal to a younger audience, because it's just, as soon as your eyes get attached to it, they don't really want to leave, because everything looks really nice. And the character designs also helped that along the way as well, I think. So yeah, I mean, I would like to see more of what happens out in space, because as soon as they jet out and it like the universe is this like vibrant purple, it looks really nice out there. So yeah.
Well, I think as well, like, I mean, I'm saying this from a point, having seen other Star Trek series and other things, the first episodes, I mean, it's always a long episode anyway, but it's often a bit like offbeat for the rest of the series.
Yeah.
And you often think, like, what a weird place to start it.
Yeah.
And I mean, you see how they all come together. So it isn't a weird place to start it, but it's weird to start a space series in a cave planet. Yeah. In a way. But I think that is almost part of the Star Trek way. Like, I mean, like the first episode of Next Generation, where it's about space jellyfish. Yeah. And you just and like, it's a bit weird in comparison to the next few or whatever. It's almost like, this is what you could have, like, so get ready for anything. Yeah. This is what could be coming up.
Yeah, I think you're right there. like I'm saying, like there's probably lots of Star Trek stuff that like might go over a lot of people's heads, but in the same way, it's still actually keeping pretty close to what Star Trek is in a way. It's just not necessarily on the surface. So yeah, because that does happen. I was well confused with the first episode.
Yeah.
Next Generation. Like, what is this? How it's going to go?
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Yeah, but I mean,
and I do think as well, you know, take this in comparison to, especially Lower Decks. Now, like I've watched all of Lower Decks that that's been released, and really enjoyed it. But at the same time, it never feels like it could actually be part of the Star Trek. Like it's clearly, you know, a comedy, and it has, you know, characters from the series in, but they're, you know, comedy versions of themselves. So you like watch it, it's funny, but you're not actually taking it as any form of canon. Whereas this, though still different, it still feels like it's part of that. Like it feels serious in a way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It feels like it has more gravity than, say, Lower Decks or something. It feels like a Star Trek series, but for a different audience.
Yeah, it does feel like it's definitely, you know, a side story that could be going on somewhere.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess that's, you know, that's the whole idea of doing that expanded universe, isn't it? Like that's their idea, is to tell stories that aren't on a ship. So I mean, this ends up on a ship, but it's not Starfleet sort of thing. So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it does make sense. And I mean, as far as the story goes, they did manage to like sort a lot of things out within that sort of 40-minute time frame. Everyone ended up together with, you know, with decent enough motives, and it didn't seem like it was rushed or anything. Like the pacing was pretty sound. I thought like we got there at the right time without any drag or it being too rushed. So
and I thought, you know, the characters were pretty interesting. They've all got space for background that would be interesting to follow. And even the main character, I know he was pretty annoying, but I felt like it could have been a lot worse, because we've seen a lot worse, and B, he could sort of get less annoying as it goes on. That's what I kind of got from it.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. We could be eating those words, but
yeah, that's I hope that's the case.
Okay then. Well, with that, let's move on and let's give our reviews.
Yo, what up? It's Captain's Log, dude. Stardate 2293.5. Wicked. Yo, today we totally found out how the replicators make pizza, bro.
Oh, this pizza's radical! Leo, you gotta try it with pepperoni!
We've just been having non-stop pepperoni all day, dude. If you could have pizza and you don't even have to order it, what would you do, bro? We've been sitting in the chairs getting pizza grease everywhere, dude.
Combination of that and hitting our skateboards in the holodeck! Party!
Whoa! It's a 1080s double flip bag. Watch your shell, bro.
Hey, Leo, it looks like Shredder's got himself a spaceship.
No way, dude. What do we do?
Let's set our phasers to fun!
Fun times!
Radical!
Yeah, dude. Watch me do a flip in the ship.
Oh! Boy!
Turtles in space.
Okay, so here at Toon Jam, we have a 3-point rating system that goes as follows. Thumbs up, fun in space.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love fun in space? That's what it's all about. Thumbs down, mining. Being a miner. I mean, mining is probably something that's necessary, but no one wants to do it. Am I right? Am I right? Because they're prisoners. And shaky middle. My analogies. So, you know, good, bad, not really sure about that. Okay, so Star Trek Prodigy, episode 1. Your thoughts?
Yeah. I think straight away you can't help but be like, this looks really, really nice. Characters look cool. The environments look really, really nice. Everything's very pretty. Everything's very, like we said, detailed, and that stylized look is really cool. You can't really get enough of it. And I'm sure as it goes on, we're going to see lots more things that look even better than they did, in the dark, dingy mines. So plus for visuals, definitely. Then we've got our characters who, main character, not so fantastic. The others, though, I pretty much got on with everyone there. I think it's an interesting bunch, which makes it quite nice. We've got someone that is themselves looks really cool, like the weird kind of galaxy entity inside a robot. Pretty cool. I like them quite a lot. And from there the story gets interesting enough. We as soon as you sort of discover that ship, I think things kind of really turn up. And it started to feel Star Trek there for me, like I said. But I think my main issue is that it probably doesn't feel as much Star Trek throughout the whole 45 minutes. I think this was my issue with Lower Decks as well, was that, like, if I'm going in for Star Trek, I kind of have an expectation there of what I'm going to get, and this didn't really get me there at that point. So I think that mixed with the person we spent the most time with being the most irritating, and then all the elements that feel heavily borrowed, whether that was on purpose or not, like, it just felt weird a lot of the time. Like, I did end up asking myself lots of questions that seemed to take up headspace where I should have been watching the show. But Conan Extended Universe, hopefully that's a thing. But yeah, so for me, I think it's going to end up a high shaky for me. High shaky. I did enjoy it, but I mean, I'd probably been better off going in at like episode 3. May have just enjoyed that better because it made me more Star Trek for me. So high shaky for me.
Okay, that's fair. I really got on with it. I enjoyed it throughout. Like you said, the visuals were stunning. I thought the music was sufficiently Star Trek-y. It had a cinematic feel, and though it was different to a direct what you expect series of Star Trek, I quite like that they're trying different things with it. If it was horrendous and they tried something different and you were like, why are you doing that, then maybe not. But this, I think, still fits and still works. I did enjoy it. I got on with all the characters. I thought it had, even though we were all on a mining planet that was a prison, I quite liked the sort of overall theme of it. You've got the head of the prison, who is a bit of a mysterious villain. His robot, we're calling him General Grievous. He was pretty grim. And then we've got they're getting in loads of kids, and we don't really know why. So there's all that story to unfold. But it also gives you that younger cast, which is I do think it's like somewhat necessary for the audience as well, that they're aiming it at. So you've got all these different things that make for a very intriguing plot. I thought the voice acting was really good, even if we did say the main character is pretty annoying. It wasn't necessarily bad acting, because I think he was supposed to be that way. Maybe not annoying, but that type of character. But yeah, I thought I thought all the sort of, from a practical side, everything was on point. And I would definitely love to see more. So it can be only a thumbs up for me.
There you go.
So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I thought it had a really nice style. Though it's similar to things, it still had its own feel to it. And just those colours were lovely jubbly. And the intro, outro, whatever it was, that was sold it as well. That was really good. I really had a lot of appreciation for that. So there you go, a thumbs up and a middle
Yeah,
So matching those online scores there.
that's it. Yeah,
So
it's really
yeah.
positive. Yeah.
So, I mean, hopefully that'll change for you if you watch any more of it.
Yeah, maybe.
What we'll see. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please feel free to rate and review us on whatever it is you listen to, and share it with someone if you enjoyed it. It really helps us out. It helps more people find the show. If you think they'll be interested, just let them know. Otherwise, if you want some bonus episodes, you can head over to our Patreon, and we do all sorts of different themes on there. So there's our entire back catalogue there. You'll have something to peruse through. Or if you want to look at our free back catalogue, you can go over to our YouTube page, which is you can find at under Toon Jam Pod. It's got all of our historic episodes, which aren't necessarily historic, but what I mean by that is they're older than this one.
And that works.
Yeah, so there you go. If you want to catch up on some old episodes, head over to YouTube. And you can also get in touch with us on the 3 prison wardens of the internet, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Toon Jam Pod. And then, maybe you disagree with us, maybe you don't, but maybe you want to get in touch. We're right here. Just let us know. We love to have a chat with you guys. And if you have any recommendations, feel free to throw them our way. Otherwise, thank you again. And until next time, you stay jammy.
Hey everyone, thank you for listening. If you want to help the show keep going, you can be extra jammy by heading over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/toonjampod. Here you can get a shout out on the show or unlock bonus episodes. Ratings and reviews anywhere you listen to the podcast also really help us out. So thank you and stay jammy.